this trail leads to, right?
पुलिस वो केस को दबाना चाहता है।
वो इंश्योरेंस वालों का फोन था। झूठ मत बोलो रुखसाना। Stop working on the story right now.
पहचान सकता है?
सब पता है मेरे को, लेकिन एक चॉकलेट देगी ना तो किसको बोलेगा नहीं मैं।
So Vidya ma'am, firstly, a huge congratulations on Jalsa, and I feel like it's wonderful because every year we've had a chat. I think in 2019 we spoke about Shakuntala Devi, then last year we spoke about Shirni, and now we're talking about Jalsa.
That's right, Anuj. Thank you.
So when it comes to this duel between truth and deception, did you ever feel this sense of conflict between what you as a person believe versus what the character actually feels?
Yeah, which is probably why the first time that Suresh came to me, I felt like I didn't have the guts to do the film.
Yes, I read that.
Yeah, but I think then the pandemic happened, and then you realized, I think we all got perspective during the pandemic, because you realize that there are no straight answers, there are no rights and wrongs, and it's all in the gray, right? And that's what I think then freed me to do Jalsa.
Right. Now, you are a disruptor, I think, when it comes to presenting dark and grey characters or roles, actually, who suffer social injustice or sorts. But for you as an actor in roles like these, obviously just referencing perhaps Jalsa and your earlier work, Ishqiya, which was also a very grey character also. Do you ever rely on a time where you've actually been emotionally bruised or been vulnerable for you to bring out the essence on screen?
Yeah, it's very difficult for me to really break it down and say that, oh, I'm really using this emotional memory for this role. But I think all of that, it's all in here, right? So it just,
Yes.
I think unknowingly also, these resources are available to us. It's in our subconscious, and it just surfaces when you need it. So I'm not sure that I have used any particular emotional memory or experience, but I'm sure I have. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely, yes. So, I think when it does come to characters like these, which are quite heavy, because I think for Suresh also, Tumhari Sulu was a quite a different style of a film. I mean, this is almost like a 360-degree turn for him
Right.
also. But how difficult is it for you to disassociate your individuality from a role also? I mean, just as a follow-up to the first question I asked you, because I'm sure it must take a toll on you at some point, right?
I have to say that this one was an intense experience, and not necessarily emotionally intense. Yes, emotionally intense, but there was a certain electric energy on set. Because when you watch the film, you'll realize that that's what makes it so gripping and compelling. So I think there were days, and also because of this dilemma she's going through, and because of the way the scenes pan out, I think by the end of the day, I'd feel like, I just wanted to flop on my bed. But that was a good feeling. It was
Yes.
not a draining tiredness. It was a kind of tiredness that you feel at the end of a fulfilling day.
Yes, absolutely. And when it comes to films, I feel like you've always been on a search of sorts. I mean, it's quite ironic that we're talking right now because Kahani just celebrated 10 years
That's
recently.
right.
And there you were on the Firak of Truth. In No One Killed Jessica, you were on the Firak of Truth. But what is Vidya Balan searching in her life right now?
Oh my God, I don't think. The only thing I think I do is, I'm probably trying to understand myself better and better, get to the bottom of who I am really. I know myself quite a bit, but I want to know myself even more. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, I still think there's so much of me that I haven't explored
Right, right.
or discovered.
Now, I think what I also quite am fascinated by Jalsa is that the film seems to address power struggles within our system and how consequently the common person suffers, which is something which has always been consistent over time. Hypothetically, if you were in a position of power, what would you change or improve in our society, perhaps given the context that we see in Jalsa?
Actually, what this film made me realize that it's not just the powerless that suffer. Everyone suffers.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I think we tend to we tend to gloss over the struggles and the pain and the dilemmas of someone who's not powerless. I want to leave it at that. I don't want to, and if you ask me what would I change really is, for example, the one thing I'd want to make accessible for everyone is healthcare.
Yes.
But then there are so many other things, right? You're hoping that there are traffic rules in place, but you're hoping there are fewer accidents. And all the more in the context of this film, it makes sense to say that you're hoping that no one dies of disease or in an accident. So then you begin to think, no, but maybe someone's drunk driving. Then you think back, maybe someone's having fun, but maybe someone's just had a bad day and has gotten drunk. So what you're going to have to correct so much, right? And that's not probably humanly possible. So I try and do whatever I can for the people around me.
Yeah,
But
that's
because
true. And I also believe,
I think you can't change the world with, you don't have a magic wand to just, change the world in one stroke.
if only Harry Potter was
That's
real,
right.
isn't it, Vidya ma'am?
Yeah.
Right. Now, I think I'm really excited to see you and Shefali ma'am work together. I mean, I've been the hugest fans of you both since day one. I mean, and
Really?
I think it was such a wonderful collaboration that we always wanted to see. And you both have actually strived to reinvent and challenge the conventional representation of women in Indian cinema. So now that we're seeing this paradigm shift in the portrayals and positions of women within the industry and the world also, what do you think will be the next benchmark now? Do you think will be the next milestone now? Do you think for women and for perhaps you as well on a personal level too?
I don't really know because, I've never planned or strategized anything. I've just responded instinctively to the work that I've been offered. And, so I think cinema is changing because of the changes we're seeing in the world around us. And as long as there's evolution there will be evolution in cinema. So, and as long as that happens, I can only hope we all do better and better and better work.
Yes, absolutely. And because you were playing a journalist in the film, a news reporter, and it was very, again, interestingly, because you were relying on a news reporter in No One Killed Jessica, which was
Right.
played around Mukherjee in the film. So how do you feel, on a final note as well, it's changed your perspective towards the journalism practice within India too?
You just realize that, again, a lot of times I've sat in judgment of how the media plays judge, jury, and executioner, but, and I'm talking about the news media, not also entertainment, but more importantly in this context, news. And you realize that there are so many compulsions at play, because it is a business at the end of the day. Media is business. News is business. So there are many other considerations that we are not even aware of that come into play in deciding whether or not a story reaches you or what the texture of the story is when it reaches you.
True. Very interesting. And I think on that note, Vidya ma'am, fortunately we've run out of time, but it's always so wonderful. And I feel like I mentioned at the beginning, I feel like our annual interviews are
Yes.
always for very wonderful films. And I can't wait to see what the next film's gonna be
Oh,
actually when we
thank
do
you,
our next
Anuj.
interview.
Thank
Hopefully
you.
again it will be Prime Video because you've had some
Yes.
wonderful releases on there.
Thank
But wonderful.
you. Thank you,
But thank you
Anuj.
so much, Vidya ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Get working on